The forever maskers are among us. You're seeing them now outside. You're seeing them inside. You're seeing them all over the place. Some of us were rejoicing when the change in policy came from the CDC. As I said to you from the very beginning, I feel like somebody who was imprisoned on false charges. Very hard to feel grateful when you were let out of that prison. But I at least recognized it as a step forward. I at least recognized that this was something that needed to happen. But for many, many people, millions of them, who watch too much CNN and MSNBC, who believe everything they read in the pages, the New York Times and the Washington Post, for those people, this creates a dilemma. Do I continue to show how seriously I take the virus? Or do I allow for people to think that maybe I'm a conservative because I don't have a mask on? This is the big concern that they have. Meanwhile, here in New York City, for many of you across the country, this is a non-issue, but here in New York City, still expected to walk in and out of my building with a mask on because Governor Cuomo, the moron in charge of this state, even dumber than Gavin Newsom, who's just a dishonest and slimy person, Governor Cuomo has said that he wants his people to review it. Okay. So now state governments have experts that are smarter than the experts at the CDC. That's what you're being told. But remember, the CDC itself is a place that is not impressive, has failed us at every stage of this, has gotten everything wrong when it needed to get it right. Maybe they figured it out eventually. And CDC Chief Walensky is a joke. Here she is coming out. For months, what was I arguing? What were many of us arguing? That if you believe in the vaccines, if you think the vaccines are as effective as we're told, and you want to use vaccines as the primary tool to end this pandemic, you can't then turn around and tell people, but you have to keep living your life as though you're not vaccinated because we're all so scared. That doesn't work. There's a cognitive dissonance there. And it also doesn't create the incentives that you need for people to want to go through the hassle and possible. There are always risks. It doesn't make you an anti-vaxxer. There are always risks for any vaccine, for any drug. There are risks for taking Tylenol, as I've been saying for a long time. I saw a Fox News host said the same thing recently. I've been saying it for months. Risks from all kinds of stuff out there. But it should be up to you to make determinations about what health risks you want to take. Back to Rochelle Walensky. Here she is on the new mask guidance over the weekend on Sunday because this looks political. Now, it's not political insofar as they made a determination that it'll be good for the Democrats if they... No. That's maybe a part of it. It's political insofar as they recognize that they were looking like idiots and they were losing their grip on power. And so unless they loosen the slack a little bit around our necks or our faces, as the case may be, then they were just going to have people that were non-complying anyway. And once you have people recognizing that they can ignore the CDC and it's fine, then they ignore everything that the CDC is trying to do. So they had to adjust a little bit here. But Rochelle Walensky of the CDC coming out now with the, oh, don't worry, this is just because the science evolved. Play one.
First of all, let's celebrate this moment. We're at a place in this pandemic. Cases have been coming down more than a third just in the last 2 weeks. We have vaccine now across this country, widely available for anyone who wants it. And we now have science that has really just evolved even in the last 2 weeks that demonstrates that these vaccines are safe, they are effective, they are working in the population just as they did in the clinical trials, that they are working against our variants that we have here circulating in the United States, and that if you were to develop an infection, even if you got vaccinated, that you can't transmit that infection to other people. Some of that science was really evolving as late as last Thursday, and one of the papers, the largest paper, was published from the CDC just the day before yesterday. So we were actively reviewing that science during the past week. We were making decisions and moving, and our subject matter experts were working just as I was testifying in front of Congress, and that was what was happening.
Bull crap. Call it like it is, folks. Bull crap. No blanking way. This is not what happened. They didn't learn this in the last week or two. Everything she said has been known for months. The efficacy, the safety, the stopping transmission. This has all been known for months. But they said, oh, this is about saving lives, so we have to take it to the absolute max. We need total herd immunity before you can actually stop wearing masks. And then people said, well, hold on a second. Look at what you've done now. Aren't you saying that there is some acceptable risk in society, that there is a balance here between freedom, between individual liberties and just comfort and the right to breathe normally, and the risk to society at large? Oh, you mean that there was a balance that had to be struck here, but you pretended there wasn't for over 15 months? Because that's what's actually happened. They've been lying to you. This is all part of a giant misdirection, all part of an enormous dishonesty, which is that the science has been directing all of this, when really it's just people who call themselves scientists and then all their flacks in the media making decisions for you that involve judgment and competing values. And they made many of the wrong ones, and they struck the wrong balance, and it didn't save us. And now we're seeing the end results of this. Now it's quite clear. But if you needed any more evidence, and I even see some people that were mocking those of us who called mask wearing a religion, people that were deriding as anti-science, those of us who said this is about much more. If it's about science at all, it's only a portion of it. Now they're seeing people who are straight up admitting, I was right. You who listen to this show were right. The mask-shaming lunatics running around were wrong. Their side has been gripped by a kind of mass hysteria and mental illness around this issue. And this is why you can see, for example, the mayor of Chicago, who is vaccinated, Lori Lightfoot, who quite clearly does not listen to the science at the CDC. She's like, well, I'm just going to keep wearing a mask. Play 7.
You say you will follow the CDC's guidance. What does that mean? Should people in Chicago wear masks or not?
Well, I think we've got to get some clarification from the CDC. The rollout, obviously, as the reporting has been, was a bit abrupt. And I think they've got a lot of clarification that they need to do. I know for me personally, I'm going to continue to wear a mask in public, and I'm going to encourage others to do so. We've got to make sure that people are continuing to follow the public health guidance that has gotten us this far. And masks, I think, are a big and important part of that. To say, well, if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask, that's great. But what about all the other people that are out there that aren't vaccinated? And there's no way to know that. So I think for the time being, most people are going to continue to wear masks outside of their homes. And I think that's smart.
She's telling people to follow the public health guidance while she herself is defying the public health guidance. This is why it's a mental illness for the libs. The brain circuitry is not functioning properly here. What does she not see? What does she not understand? And she's one of millions. She's one of so many out there who can't process this. But that's a very important point. When Democrats have force on their side, when they have the state on their side, it's just the raw exercise of power. Do it because. That's what they say. Do what we tell you because you must or else. No explanation, no justification. That's been their approach to everything in the COVID pandemic all along. Oh, we can make you do it. We're going to make you do it. Shut up. Put that mask on. Double mask. Okay. And then when they don't have the force of the state, they rely on process. Oh, we respect the system and we respect the decisions made by the CDC, but we just need more clarification. We need more time to implement. See, this is how leftists do it. The relativism of having no principles allows them complete leeway to change it as they see fit. When the force of the state is on their side, it is do it or else. When they can no longer rely on the force of the state, and in fact, it's going in the opposite direction, They say, hold on a second. We need more time. Let's think this through. Let's have a review. Let's call a meeting. Delaying that which they do not agree with and ramming through the instant that they think they can get away with it, whatever they want. This is true on masks. It's true on everything that the left deals with when it comes to government.
Hey, Team Buck, thank you so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you like this video, please click that little thumbs up button so then it will log as liked. And also, if you want to see more great content from The First, please click subscribe.